Hello, everybody. My name is Jillian Burton, and I have been here at Christ the King Community Church for 19 years. I started my Christian walk with the Lord 37 years ago. Now, all 37 of those years have not been perfect. I have not been a perfect Christian, and I have had a whole lot of questions, and still some days do. However, I would like to share a testimony with you of how God was with me in an amazing way. It all started on New Year's Eve of 2023. My daughter wasn't feeling well, so she went to bed early. She woke up that next morning and was very weak and almost passed out several times. So I took her to Children's Hospital, and she was there for the whole day. She was hooked up to IV fluids and was treated. She had flu B and was very sick. We went home later that night. Everything was well at home. And then 2 days later, my husband came down with the same flu B. Now, if you know my husband and my daughter, neither one of them gets sick, hardly ever, let alone sick enough to be in bed for a solid 10 days. Now let me tell you how amazing God is and what all He can do in a little bit of time. The next family member was my son, and he got sick. He was having trouble breathing, so I took him to Children's. His tonsils were so big they were touching. However, he tested positive for strep, flu B, and COVID, so they couldn't do anything for him because of all the illnesses that he had. So they sent us home with a lot of medications and a lot of restrictions. Within that time period, we were going to the doctor for my son for a follow-up checkup, and my husband and son were getting ready to leave the house, and my daughter looked over at me and wanted to know what was wrong with the dog because he was shaking all over the floor. So we swooped up the dog, and my daughter and I went to the emergency vet while my husband and my son went to the doctor. Long story short, the dog was okay, but it had ingested something that wasn't agreeing with his system. So we had to medicate him, and he is all well. In the meantime, my son has a double ear infection, was his diagnosis at the doctor, on top of the illnesses that I just said that he had. On the way home, he asked my husband to take him back to the house while he went and got his medicine because he just didn't have enough strength to ride to the pharmacy. Within an hour and a half of being home from the doctor's office, his right eardrum completely ruptured, and he was in excruciating pain. Now, I'm still at the emergency vet with the dog and my daughter, and we're getting that situation taken care of. A couple days later, I was making homemade donuts for my kids, and we had a kitchen fire with the grease of making the donuts. Now, I have no explanation other than God completely protected our family. I was the only one that got burnt, and it should have been my arms, my face, my hair. It should have been my body. However, it was not. It was the back of my left leg, and it was second and third degree burns, and they thought I was going to have skin grafts, but after tremendous amounts of praying, I do not have to have skin grafts. My burns are almost completely gone and healed with minimal scarring. Our kitchen is completely remodeled now. It is all better than it was before, and my family has walked away from a grease fire in our kitchen completely unharmed. So after my son, his eardrum ruptured, he was in a lot of pain, and we had to keep heat on it constantly just to ease the pain. I had to go pick my daughter up, so it was a little bit of a snowy day, but it was more icy. And as I was leaving, I slid down our driveway and hit the electric box to our house. It was a complete miracle that I didn't hit the pole and my vehicle wasn't damaged. It just tore the electric box completely off of the pole and we now had no electricity. So I was very uncertain how I was going to keep heat on Clayton's ear, because that was the only thing that gave him any relief in the middle of all of this. But what I want everybody to hear and understand and know most, that if you can just trust in Him and God at all times, He is amazing. And He reassured me that He is always on watch. He is always taking care of us. He's always with us. When we don't think He is, He is. He protected us in ways that I could never have done. It doesn't matter what you're going through, or how long you're going through it, or when you're going through it. God is always, always with you. So if you're having a bad day, a bad hour, a bad week, a bad month, it is okay. Hang in there. Do not give up. Do not turn away. If you're going to turn away to anything, you turn to the Lord. You pray through it. And it's not always going to be easy. And you might not always have the outcome that you think you should have. But trust me, God knows what is best. And whether you think in the moment that that is what is best for you, don't question Him, as hard as that is sometimes. Be strong, be diligent in your prayer life, and just know that God always, always, always has the watch.